If you've noticed your electricity bill creeping up seemingly every quarter, you are not alone. It's so frustrating to see your bills going up when your income is staying flat. Have you ever wondered what's behind it and why it keeps going up? You're in the right place. Let me explain. Over the last 20 years, power prices in Australia have surged, impacting households, businesses, and the economy. In this brief video, we'll break down the reasons for the increase, why they're still rising, and most importantly, practical steps to bring them down. If this resonates with you, give it a like and subscribe for more insights on energy and finance. Let's get started. The data tells a clear story. In 2005, household electricity prices were about half of today's levels in real terms. By 2022, they'd risen around 50% and the trend hasn't stopped. From 2023 to 2025, we have seen further hikes. Wholesale prices averaged $140 per megawatt hour in Q2 2025, up 5% from the previous year, with spikes reaching $232 in June alone. To grasp why, let's explain how Australia's electricity system operates. The National Electricity Market, known as NEM, is essentially a real-time auction for power, covering Queensland to South Australia. Over 200 generators, from coal and gas plants to wind and solar farms, bid every 5 minutes to supply electricity. The Australian Energy Market Operator, AEMO, selects the lowest cost bids first in what's called the merit order to meet demand. Coal and gas provide baseload power, running consistently around the clock. Renewables like solar and wind are variable, only generating when conditions are right. Prices are determined by the cost of the last generator needed, the marginal supplier. On high-demand days, when renewables plus coal energy sources are not generating enough electricity supply, a gas plant is often required to ramp up urgently to make up for the shortfall. In these situations, prices can soar up to $15,500 per megawatt hour. Crazy, right? This is an extreme example, but illustrates the point of what a disaster intermittent energy production has been for consumers paying the bills. For context, normal prices are less than $100 per megawatt hour. Retailers purchase this wholesale power, add transmission and distribution costs, the poles and wires, environmental charges, and their margins, then pass it on to consumers. In the coal-heavy past, supply was reliable and constant with no fluctuations going on, keeping prices stable at around $60 per megawatt hour year-round. Today, with more intermittency, fluctuations are common, leading to higher overall costs for everyone. The core issue? A deliberate shift from dependable coal, which supplied 84% of power in 2005, to renewables now exceeding 40% of generation in 2024 to 2025, with records like 77% on peak days. Coal is deliberately being phased out due to emissions concerns, and as a consequence, closures like Hazelwood in 2017 removed significant capacity, and more closures are planned despite extensions being provided. While solar and wind have low running costs, their unreliability requires costly backups like gas peakers or emerging batteries, driving up expenses during lulls. This has led to wholesale prices tripling in volatility compared to 2 decades ago. Adding to the burden are government subsidies fueling this transition. In the 2024 to 25 budget, over $22 billion was allocated to renewables, including tax incentives and project funding, plus an extra $7.1 billion for the Australian Renewable Energy Agency, ARENA. These costs are recovered through levies on bills, adding 10 to 15% to household expenses. Meanwhile, upgrading the grid for more remote renewable sites and new transmission lines costing billions further inflates prices. Fossil fuels receive subsidies too, around $14.9 billion in 2024 to 25, but the renewable push is accelerated by mandates, directly impacting consumers. Here is a key difference in market behavior. Renewables often bid at zero or negative prices due to low marginal costs, displacing coal and sometimes lowering averages via the merit order effect. However, during oversupply, prices plummet, prompting operators to withhold output by raising bids and waiting for prices to hit profitable levels like $50 MWh. During 2023 to 2025, curtailment wasted gigawatt hours of renewable energy because the grid couldn't absorb it, or it wasn't economically viable. Coal plants, by contrast, operated continuously at fixed costs of $30 to 40 MWh, ensuring steady supply without such games. This shift has amplified price swings and peaks to over $10,000 MWh in crises like 2022, and added $10 to $20 billion annually in system costs, all passed to users. In summary, we've traded reliable coal for variable renewables, subsidized the change heavily, and allowed market dynamics that favor intermittency over stability. Environmental policies, aging infrastructure, and global fuel prices contribute, but the renewable emphasis is the primary driver of higher, more volatile bills. Now, how can we reduce these prices? The solution lies in prioritizing reliability and efficiency. Here's a detailed plan with policy changes required. Extend and upgrade coal plants. Follow the example of a Raring power plant in New South Wales, which was extended to 2027 instead of closing in 2025. Invest in upgrades, around $500 million per plant to improve efficiency and reduce emissions with tech like carbon capture. This maintains baseload at low costs, $40 MWh, stabilizing wholesale prices and avoiding billions in new infrastructure. Also implement a national moratorium on closures until 2040, with incentives for retrofits. Phase out or cap renewable subsidies. Redirect the $22 billion plus in handouts toward grid reliability rather than new projects. By scrapping schemes like the Large-Scale Renewable Energy Target, LRET, we could cut bill levies by 10% immediately. Gradually reduce mandates over 5 years, focusing subsidies on proven, dispatchable tech to prevent over-reliance on intermittents and curb wasteful spending. Reform the NEM for better dispatch rules, adjust the merit order to prioritize reliable sources during peaks, and introduce penalties for withholding power. Cap renewable integration at 50% until storage like batteries scale up affordably. This reduces volatility, ensuring steady supply and lowering average prices by 15 to 20%. Update NEM rules via AEMO to include reliability credits for baseload generators, fostering competition without gaming. Bridge with gas and introduce nuclear, a proven clean and green electricity generator. Reserve domestic gas to avoid export-driven price hikes, and fast-track small modular nuclear reactors for clean, reliable power. Nuclear could provide base load at competitive costs once operational. Enact gas reservation laws and streamline approvals for nuclear under a 10-year rollout plan, bridging the gap until renewables are fully backed by storage. Deregulate and compete on networks. Reduce regulatory hurdles for transmission upgrades, encouraging private competition to lower the 30% of bills tied to poles and wires. This could save billions through efficiency gains. Reform the Australian energy regulators framework to promote innovation and cost-sharing models, targeting a 20% reduction in network charges. Implementing these could drop prices 20 to 30% within 5 years, returning to more affordable levels while balancing environmental goals. Critics highlight climate risks, but with advancements in clean coal and nuclear, we can achieve both reasonable prices and sustainability, similar to Germany's coal reliance amid their energy challenges in recent times. For manufacturing companies, cheap energy prices are the key critical component to enable competitive product pricing with international markets. High energy pricing makes a country less competitive and ultimately loses market share to countries with lower operating expenses. Low energy prices are a huge positive for business to operate efficiently and compete worldwide. As you can see, Australian business is at a big disadvantage compared to USA and China-based companies. That's the full picture on Australia's electricity prices. What are your thoughts? Prioritize reliability or push harder on renewables? Comment below, share if this helped, and subscribe for more breakdowns. Thanks for watching and stay informed.